So there were a lot of pretty bad experiences with iCarly that not only I had, but a lot of the fans had. It seems like the culprit is everything in the later seasons, similar to the other shows, similar to even Sam and Kat's existence. There was just a point where the writers weren't trying to impress us and we weren't watching them anymore. Like, you could have kept up with our intellect. In high school, I would have watched it if I thought the jokes were more relevant and necessary, but this just feels like they knew the generation that watched the episodes were leaving, so they had to just throw things at the wall just to get people's attention. And I guess it worked, because now we're here talking about it 20 years later. I mean, who's the real hero here? Not me.
You can also blame your mom for buying your local
I do always enjoy my rewatches of iCarly, like the commitment to the environment, the cynicism kind of owns it. It hits a guilty part of me that remembers growing up in this time and thinking that it was okay to make fun of people, that it was okay to ditch your friends or be a bad person. Like, it's funny and it's quirky. But now as an adult, I'm like, there's parts that work. There's parts that remind me that life is fun and games and everything is about empathy. But then there's parts where I'm like, okay, I don't subscribe to this. I watched it, but I don't believe what we're advocating for here, especially when we're talking about the Earth. No, I'm just kidding. That'd be a weird hill to die on. Oh, and I noticed a lot of the episodes were either a big special episode where the expectations were set so high, and that's the reason the episodes might be viewed lower. But then others were also like the guest star episodes where it was kind of special, but it wasn't the reason the episode was bad. Okay, so we start with the episode. It's called iDream of Dance. I'm sure you guys remember it. It was like one of the first iCarly episodes to air in general. I can't remember if it was like the premiere night or a couple nights after, but I just remember this being a big deal at the time. I was in middle school, probably wondering what Austin Butler was doing so early in his career. Starts with Carly walking into the classroom, seeing Sam eating a full breakfast at her table. Ew, who's gonna clean that up when you're done? Carly takes the turkey bacon and stops questioning her, which makes sense. Gotta acknowledge that this is before iCarly went like a little off the rails. I feel like for me, pre-season 4 was all the good stuff and everything after is just unstructured. So this is supposed to be the best season, you know, like this is where it started it all. So why is this a dance episode? It would be one thing if it was a musical episode, like give me a couple Freddie numbers, give me Sam singing jazz. Even Carly can sing Stay My Baby, you know, one of the 2000 classics. But no, this is the earliest dud, I would say, for being so high quality. So clearly Miss Briggs is up with the times because she brings in a Scottish dancer, and you know how we were in middle school, always talking about those Scottish dancers. Please just wear plaid and dance in my class, that's all I need. Sam boos him, and even though I'm thinking that, you shouldn't say that out loud. That's actually really disrespectful. I remember once somebody was doing an audition for a talent show and the teacher said no, and that kind of broke my heart. In all fairness, this doesn't actually have to do with the subject they're learning, so it's like, Carly has a point here. So this whole event strikes the iCarly team to have an idea. Though they're traumatized by the experience, they're like, we should allow other people to submit dances to us and we could showcase them on the website. Wow, look at these guys. They essentially founding TikTok. Because at the time, these videos didn't exist everywhere. It was like every so often on YouTube next to all the parkour videos or emo rock compilation videos. It wasn't that common, so even this was a clever idea at the time. So Carly and Sam announce it on their webcast. Hey, submit a video to us, we'll check it. The way they talk on iCarly is kind of condescending to me. Like, I feel like adults just assume kids are that eccentric and peppy when they're talking, but it even feels unnatural for Jennette and Miranda to be doing it. Like, I get it. I get what they're going for, but it's like, I don't know, it's like on YouTube with thumbnails. Like, you do something inauthentic to try to get somebody's attention, and once you have them, you can keep going. But they just keep it up every time. What is it with this? So Freddie runs to the girls and is like, guys, like, we got so many submissions. And check how big this laptop is in Freddie's hand. It is like half this guy's body. It is way bigger than his head. It looks like an iPad XL. And it makes Freddie look a little ridiculous in this moment. Gibby's adorable. He has a little cameo when we find out that Sam was attacking somebody's locker and it was his. I can't believe how young they all are. Like, this is insane. So they end up watching all these dance videos and there's like an obscure amount, like they're exhausted. Spencer introduces a B-plot by saying he wants to be one of the dancers, and that's funny to me. I love this character. We get a little glimpse into Spencer's room, which I never realized they did. Does it feel like a normal episode so far? Yeah, that's because it kinda is, and this is where it starts getting off the rails. So Freddy, Sam, and Carly fall asleep watching all these weird dance videos. Next thing you know, they all appear in the same dream back at Ridgeway. There, everybody is dancing for no apparent reason. It's not like these guys have like a lesson to learn that they have to figure out through their dreams. It's just like, oh, what if every day was an inconvenient dance number that didn't necessarily need to get solved? There's nowhere to go or do per se, but we're just gonna be attacked by these dancers. Everybody has a different dream. Then we have Sam's dream where it's like her versus Miss Briggs, and it ends up being one of the Scottish dance numbers, and it's actually really impressive. I'm like, how did they get Sam to do this? Oh wait, it's an actor. Gibby comes in with his shirt off. I think this is like one of the first times that's happened.
Get out of here, Gibby. This is my nightmare.
And then Freddy's dream is actually really funny. It's like a guy hitting on Carly and he has to like step in the way, and it looks like it's about to be a rap battle, but instead he just does silent movements. Like, imagine this entire scene without any dancing. Like, it's just cringe. But it is kind of impressive. Like, it reminds me of High School Musical, The Boys Are Back, when they're dancing on those tires. And then we get Carly's dream. It's like her in a floral dress, which, by the way, I don't know, it's not my style. A bunch of handsome men in suits appear and dance with her. Again, what are we working toward? What is happening? Where's the episode going? Is the web show at stake or just the main character's sanity? If so, like, why isn't this I Lost My Mind with Sheldon Cooper? She wakes up from the dream finally, and it's Spencer trying to make his dance video for them like he said he would, and we didn't really see much into it, but he ends up having the exact dream Carly did.
I don't know what's going on here, but I think I like it.
So overall, like, this episode, while it was wildly entertaining and the dance moves were borderline impressive, I feel like it didn't have anything to do with the core premise of the show. It wouldn't have worked as any Dan Schneider shows, and it didn't progress anything. It just feels like one of those let's do whatever we feel like doing episodes. And it's like, when I was at that age, I saw right through that. I'm like, guys, I need to see these characters going through stuff. I'm not having fun watching them dance. If they were singing or like had a goal, that would be fun for me. But there's not that. It's just, there's nothing to overcome. But with that said, it's like a really impressive season, like high quality for sure for the show. And I feel like this episode is the least impressive out of all of them, but still an impressive show. So this will go as my first season least important episode. Sorry guys, but I don't know. It didn't work for me. And I'm not crazy. Apparently this episode pulled in about 3.5 million viewers, which is a solid number for an early iCarly outing, but it wasn't a fan favorite either. Contemporary reviews were scarce, like critics don't always review kids sitcoms, but people have later talked about online that this is season 1's weakest overall. Not trying to toot my own horn saying I'm right, I'm just saying that the numbers don't lie. No, I'm just kidding, it's an opinion. But legacy-wise, they needed to introduce Gibby, I guess, so having this be his first episode, it's important for that case. The next one is season 2, I Go to Japan. So this is ridiculous, because season 2 of iCarly kicked off with the show's first TV movie special, I Go to Japan. It's like a supersized 3-part episodes. And it was ambitious, the gang leaving Seattle to go to Tokyo. And on paper it sounds epic, like Carly, Sam, and Freddy going on this big adventure to another place. Like, that's all fine and well. The idea that they, like, created a fake Japan already is a bad one, and they definitely didn't do any research on the appropriate way to go about this.
Did you understand any of that?
I'm not sure, but I think he called us dirty street monsters.
The idea of it being for this iWeb Awards, a big event that iCarly could finally be recognized for what it does, is exciting. I like that idea a lot. And I like the fact that we see our crew fly across the Pacific for this whole ordeal. And of course, every character being involved is perfect. Like, I like that Spencer's here. The only thing we're missing is Tebow. Why wouldn't they just put Tebow in here at this point? And it's one of those episodes where it's like everything that can go wrong does go wrong. The first class tickets get traded for sketchy seats in a cargo plane, which leads to them meeting this random man with a possum, and they have to emergency parachute jump into Japan. And once they're there, Carly and the friends, they fall for this rival group that's trying to trick them. Yoko and Yuki, who have like their own competitive
few extra towels and some unscented toilet paper.
They don't work here, crazy.
web show, and they basically lead them astray. It's weird because it makes Japan look like it's this scary, sketchy place, and if you ever wanted to go, you'll probably have to get on a cargo plane, jump out, and then nobody there is trustworthy. I mean, I know they're not trying to make a point about all this, but it's just fun to view in retrospect, you know? Spencer and Mrs. Benson have this whole side plot about taking a seaweed spa day.
Oh, what are you doing?
I'm eating!
Eat faster!
I'm eating as fast as I can!
Getting wrapped in seaweed in the nude. And of course, it's as comedic as it sounds. It's literally them trying to get out of the spa, and everything just turns out well when Spencer decides they could just eat the seaweed to get out. I mean, weird resolution, but okay.
Getting closer to the light! There! I can touch it!
Good! Can you get out?
I think so! Yeah! Hey.
All ends well. I'm not sure if this is a spoiler for being so long later, but the gang reunites in time for the chaotic award show showdown, and then they get this whole karate chop antic on stage. It's like a roller coaster of emotions. It's definitely pegged as one of the series' worst. Why? Because I pegged it that way. It's a little too cringe comedy. I mean, as a kid, you like the slapstick journey, but here, the fact that the cultural stereotypes, you could tell the writers just needed to get out of telling cultural jokes, so they focused on more physical comedy, slapstick. But the nonsensical plot is speaking for itself. Like, it just doesn't go as far as being like this great feature event that leads them into growing as characters. It's a series of tragic things happening, which is usual for a Dan Schneider show. If you've seen Drake and Josh, this essentially is every episode in a nutshell. Sometimes it even feels like this live-action cartoon, and not in the big-time rush, Ned's Declassified Scott Fellows way. No, it's not that cute.
Honey, Higgles! Oh yeah? Uh-huh. What's up, what's up, what's up?
It's more Looney Tunes before they realized they had cultural sensitivities out there. And it kind of ungrounds the show for a little bit, especially since everything about it is so grounded. Like, it's this web show using modern day technology to go through something. That is exactly abandoned in this special. So it's almost like, and there's a fine line between funny and cringe. Like seeing Freddie, Sam, and Carly have to get all the way back to the web show after being abandoned on the side of the road. That's interesting. You even see Los Angeles City Hall as a Tokyo building in the background, so it's not like the editors were committed to making this accurate either. I just wish I didn't look back on this episode and was like, oh, that's the craziest iCarly episode. I wish I looked back and was like, oh, that's a cool special. Kind of like I am with the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour. But this doesn't hold a necessarily important place in history, and it doesn't really make the image of iCarly look any better, even for the fact that this was its peak. Like, quality-wise, storytelling-wise, character-wise, they did everything right. So having this little bump in the road, as you would say, it took me out of it. Oh my gosh, in one scene, Carly's team is literally stuck in a hole in rural Japan. Despite the fact I hate this so much, the I Go to Japan episode drew in 7.6 million viewers, and that's like one of the highest rated iCarly broadcasts to date. Kids were excited to see the webcasters go on this international adventure, and since we didn't have a lot of online presence at the time to fact check any of this, it definitely didn't suffer at the time. It's more so like in retrospect, this was not such a great episode. I do think it's relied on the fact it's a spectacle to get away from the storytelling. Like, there's such high production value either because of a guest star or because of a current location, that they almost expect the audience to forgive a little bit more than they're used to forgiving. Because I don't forgive this anymore. But you know what? It's a TV movie. They have to have a reason to do it, I guess, is if I'm coming up with any excuse for them. So I'm not gonna harp on it any longer. While some categorize this as a TV movie, I also had a backup episode planned just in case it it doesn't feel like it could be a part of the video. So I put also I Go Nuclear from season 2, and this is just out of left field, I feel like. Like when they have an eco-friendly or Earth Day themed episode, I get a little hesitant because it's not like we have like a lot of traditions. When we do episodes about holidays that aren't necessarily holidays, it feels like very, very Western culture-y.
What happened to you?
What happened? I tried to make an electric scooter to cut down on the need for gasoline-powered transportation.
I mean, it's funny because it all happens in an ironic way, like Carly Shay nearly committing environmental felony. And I don't know, it's just so crazy.
You're a criminal.
What?
So the plot is that there's Green Week at school and Carly has to help create a project that benefits the environment. So our girl Carly, eager to impress and procrastinating, builds an electric scooter, and it's a bust. The thing goes 4 miles per hour, spontaneously catches on fire. It's kind of crazy. It even reminds me of like a Victorious out-of-the-box gag. She gets a weekend extension to do a little bit better, and she enlists a cute science geek named Cal to help her build a generator to power the iCarly studio, which is a really cool concept. I love that they're able to wrap the web show into the narrative and somehow make a green, eco-friendly episode without being too preachy. It's very grounded in that sense. In Zoe 101, Miranda Cosgrove makes an appearance, and she's like this scientific genius, even like challenging Quinn from the main cast. And the plot is that they found a way to also use an eco-friendly generator to power the entire campus of PCA, which is funny because I never realized how close in nature these two episode plot lines are, with Miranda Cosgrove playing the girl as the main character. It's just funny to me. Because they also end similarly. Like, Carly runs this nuclear reactor to light up some Christmas lights. She ends up getting an A+, but the government shuts everything down because it's against the law for a teenager to have a uranium-powered generator in her apartment. How is Cal getting this uranium? What does Cal do in his daily life that makes this something he was able to accomplish? I mean, they're 14, 15. So moral of the story is don't do too much research when you're doing your eco-friendly project. I don't really know why this episode needed to happen. I feel like if, gun to my head, I had to choose 5 episodes of iCarly to take off the existence of the planet, this would be one of them. But I really hope you guys don't do that. Please don't do that to me. And the threat of her having to go on this root and berry retreat as a punishment isn't that dramatic. Like, I don't see her actually being harmed for it, so like, I don't mind if this doesn't work out for her. And of course we get a teacher that I'm not really used to seeing here. Like, I don't know why he just comes in for this episode. I mean, it was probably before they decided, like, everybody that was a mainstay on iCarly versus, like, not. The B-plot's not as interesting. It's like Freddie and Sam building this labor-intensive composting project, with Sam doing nothing to contribute to it, which is not that surprising. And then Freddie ends up getting a D- and Sam gets an A for essentially doing nothing. Yeah, it's one of those kind of episodes.
Bravo! Bravo, Sam! No!
And if you're thinking, it sounds a little mean-spirited, you're right. I Go Nuclear is infamous for its unpleasant tone and nonsensible message. Like, I saw fans online call it out for being one of the worst episodes of the whole series. And Carly casually building a nuclear generator in a kid's sitcom? That's already bizarre. It's a wild plot, even for iCarly standards. And that's saying something. Viewers had to seriously suspend their disbelief, even if we couldn't. And the second is the tone. Carly and Freddie, who work hard on these projects, get screwed over while Sam slacks off and gets rewarded. It's very cynical, and the vibe is just giving me mixed messages. Like, I feel weird about showing this to my son or daughter. But hey, it was 2009, I guess. It's like an anti-lesson episode. I'm not gonna lie, some of the bits are so ridiculous that they are pretty amusing, like Carly riding the rebuilt electric scooter and screaming, "I'm helping the environment," only for it to set on fire. Like, that's funny. I like that, and as a kid, I thought that was probably hilarious. And I guess if you like dark humor, the idea of Carly nearly contaminating half of Seattle is kind of funny in like a twisted way. Either way, the amusing bits don't really save the episodes. They just give me a reason to explain why I wasted 20 minutes of my time. And the moral lesson, trying too hard makes you lose. Doing nothing gets you an A is just, I don't know. It's just not helpful. I can't help but wonder if this was like a forced episode from Nickelodeon to celebrate Earth Day. But then I can't believe that that would even be like a thing. I don't remember. It's an unforgettable misfire, to say the least. One that unironically keeps the iCarly fandom talking about the show's lows as well as highs. So just remember, kids, don't try this at home. Seriously, you leave the uranium to the professionals. Cal. Oh, and before we jump off this, can we talk about how much this environmental teacher is being mocked just for caring about the environment? Like, they treat him like he's some hippie nut job. And it kind of reminds me of Psychowitz. Like, seeing him eating at the Groovy smoothie with Carly, Sam, Spencer, like, that's also inappropriate outside of school.
We take our buckets
And do this!
So season 3 of iCarly had some fan favorite storylines, like the Carly, Sam, Freddie love triangle, but it also gave us iSpace Out, an episode that promised an out-of-the-world experience and ended up in a crash landing. The concept is straight from a wild kid's imagination. An eccentric billionaire recruits Carly, Freddie, and Sam to compete for a chance to host the first web show broadcast from outer space. You know that thing that Katy Perry was trying to do recently? Yeah, that's exactly what they were trying to do. That's right, iCarly in space. Doesn't it sound like amazing? Initially, the gang is excited and undergoes a series of astronaut training tests, and they do fine in a series, and there's like a bunch of obstacle courses and zero-G simulations. I feel like this would have done better as even a Big Brother type challenge. But where they find real trouble is when they get the last assignment, which is to spend 36 hours in a mock space capsule to test if they can handle the confinement. And of course, things go very wrong. It's notably one of the episodes where we were actually introduced to one of Carly's fears, which is funny because it's season 3, and she's afraid of enclosed spaces, something that might actually just come up one more time. After cooped up together, Carly, Sam, and Freddie succumb to space madness, this delirious, drunk-like state where they're essentially scared and irritable.
I knew it.
You smuggled a brisket here?
Have some green corn.
Freddie starts babbling, and Carly notably has a full-on panic attack. She freaks out so badly that they actually smash the capsule window to escape, disqualifying iCarly and the crew from the space, which, wow, that was quick. So much for boldly going where no webcast has gone before. And then in the bizarre subplot, Spencer is at home experimenting his own psychological thriller, and he keeps encountering a mystery little girl in their apartment. The child appears randomly, doesn't speak, and vanishes before everybody else sees her. It almost feels like a plot taken exactly from Drake and Josh.
See, this is okay. Because I know you're just my imagination. So I'm just gonna open the fridge.
Because it's named Dr. Paxil after the anti-anxiety medication, which, don't ask how I know that. He suggests Spencer's probably hallucinating because he's missing Carly. Aww. Spencer almost believes that he imagined her because obviously it's a realistic reason to think that your sister's going to space and you're worried about her. Like, I like how that ties into the main plot. But when Carly comes home after the failed space test, she sees the little girl too, so Spencer wasn't ridiculous or crazy.
Hello. Who are you?
But why do I dislike this episode? One, I thought it was a 2-part special, which is crazy. The marketing hyped it up so much to seem like this big event, but it's really a half hour with the idea of going to space and not actually doing it. It's like when you see a YouTube thumbnail of a really cool image, like Mr. Beast or something, and you're like, I want to see him actually do that. And then you watch the video and it's nothing like that. It's called being catfished, people. But the fact that they ultimately never even left the ground, it feels like the episode sets up a fun scenario, like in astronaut training, only to use it as a joke, like Three Stooges style. It's like, it's just one long bit. And then, of course, Carly's sudden claustrophobic meltdown is just for laughs. It's supposed to be like the climactic, humorous moment in all of this, and it's kind of making me feel bad because I don't want to see her not well. It could have been comedic gold, but it had such a weak execution, and the space madness antics would have been really funny if it actually mattered in the end. If anything, the B-plot saves it from being like a horrible, horrible episode. Like, I like the fact that Spencer almost cares that Carly's missing. It makes me enjoy it a little bit more, and it's a little funny to watch him think that he's hallucinating. I did like the training montage. It was definitely a little funny. Seeing Freddie and Sam bicker mid-gravity is also, like, hilarious. How crazy would it have been if they were dating at this time? Like, you saw the chaos they had in their relationship. Imagine it was in space. Freddie and Sam in space! Arguing.
So no stopping.
But wait, one question.
What?
Why are you so stupid?
Carly?
Sam, I'm curious. Go.
I feel like I've seen this in old sci-fi tropes, the idea of somebody going to space madness. But Carly definitely doesn't act it super normal. Like, you could tell this actress has never been through something like space madness. I'm now realizing how crazy that sounds out loud. None of us have been through space madness. Oh, and the ending, being like in the middle of the hardcore training and just having them break a window and that's where it ends, it almost takes me out of the most exciting parts I was looking forward to for a special like that. And I just remember being a kid, when it was 7:30, it was like, oh cool, time for the second part. But it was like, nope, that was the whole episode. And now SpongeBob. Yeah. Rip off. iCarly should be building momentum, getting better. I wanted to believe they would go to space because of how popular they were getting. It's something a rich person would do. But you know what? You let us on. iCarly, you let us on. Okay, season 3 is an interesting one. We have I Do. Now, this is the season where Carly switched her room. The season where I don't know how we figured out what season 2 was. Just 39 episodes of confusion. But this is season 3. And in the episode, it's about this guy that wants to propose with iCarly as the platform he proposes to her on.
Here's my situation. I want to get married.
Well, I'm still in high school.
Right. Super funny.
So yeah, Freddie and the girls are excited. They finally get to do their first proposal over the webcast. I like that we're actually expanding into bigger deals of things for the iCarly crew. And that this guy is just odd enough to be a character in this universe. The fun thing about this episode is it starts to take place only at this wedding, because they're invited to the wedding as a part of the whole ceremony. It's funny because they kind of justify it by being like they don't have a lot of friends, so they have these random strangers that are on a web show be a part of their bridal shower.
Freddie, you could be my best man!
And it's kind of sweet. Like, I like seeing the main cast in suits and getting ready for a wedding, but the wife is a little crazy and obsessed with Spencer, so she almost backs out of this whole wedding.
Honor, respect, and care for him as long as you both shall live.
I think I'm in love with someone else.
Whoa.
Spencer.
Spencer isn't even into the idea. There's no romantic connection at all, and this woman is just ready to jump ship. So I'm not really following her plotline or caring that her wedding goes well. Like, I wish Carly saw there was like a good spot in her, or maybe Spencer actually had feelings for her, but it just kind of goes off the walls for no reason. And if you know me, you know I hate random musical numbers that are out of context. Yeah, Miranda Cosgrove sings in this episode. She sings in iParty with Victorious, but that's an event episode. I feel like it's just weird because iCarly has never had her sing, and this is the one time they did, and it didn't really lead to anything. It just kind of brought everybody together by the end of the episode. It kind of reminds me of the Drake and Josh episode where they're all stuck in the house in the storm, and Helen sings "We Will Rock You" to get everybody cheering up. This episode does have like a successful conclusion, along with the full wedding, but it doesn't really go above production standards. And I just don't like the attitude of everybody in the wedding party. Like, it seems like nobody else cares for these kids and blame iCarly for everything that kind of goes wrong.
Gordon, I invite you guys to my wedding. I pay for your plane, rides, and you go and steal my honey.
And Carly resolving this whole adult mess with a heartfelt performance even stretches sitcom logic. But it's definitely worth watching for Spencer's reactions. Like, it's hard. He's such a funny character, so it's not like the writing had to be good for this. Just throwing him in the situations and having him react is half the jokes. But this episode is actually pretty plot heavy, which is weird. It's too much plot to be laughing the whole time, and yet there's too many wild and wacky jokes that make it hard to follow the plot. So it's almost like it's shooting itself on both accounts. Carly's motives to fix this whole wedding are not even rooted in something genuine. I feel like she's just trying to get out of an uncomfortable situation. It's not like the webcast is at stake. It's not like anybody's reputation's on the line. It's just like low stakes and high laughs. I don't know. It's still a fun watch. I feel like it was leaning away from when iCarly was at its best, but they got me with the premise. Like, I love the idea of a wedding type episode. I just feel like they kind of wasted it. They definitely wasted this idea. It started out interesting in the beginning of the episode, and it went too far, as iCarly will do often. I'm not sure if you guys even remember this song Carly performs. Like, maybe there's mega fans of iCarly that could tell me what this is, but for now, I'm just gonna write this off. Okay, for season 5, we had a lot in the running, but I'm gonna give this hands down to iStill Psycho Parts 1 and 2. Yeah, another special. Something about iCarly is when they're given a 1-hour special, they choose to go nuts with it. Or in this case, a sequel to going nuts with it, going double nuts with it.
I'm kind of in the middle of a lunch date with Cassie.
I don't know, Kathy.
Of course, we bring back Nora Dershlit, this clingy, karaoke-obsessed fan who once kidnapped Carly and her crew in the basement, and she's up for parole. Despite Sam and Freddie actually wanting to let her go to prison, Carly is essentially trying to be a good person and be like, no, it's not fair. I want to see the good in people, which, only comes out when it's convenient for the writers. And it's really kind of crazy how pathetic her life is, because her parents are like, oh, we're not gonna love her after this.
I guess it'll just be me, my mom, and my dad.
Sorry, I can't make it, baby.
Why not?
I want to go camping alone tonight.
So Sam, Freddie, and Carly start to see that their impact is actually going to ruin somebody's life. So they kind of cowered out of pressing any charges for when they, kidnapped them. By the way, I feel like kids shouldn't advocate for themselves in this situation. Like, they were kidnapped. And even more irresponsibly, in a really annoying episode. They essentially copy and pasted this premise into this whole new special with a little bit of a different beginning and ending. I wish they called this iNora 2.0 because it's mainly her episode, and she's a really funny character. I feel like the actress does a good job at playing crazy, but it goes off the rails a little too much, almost to the point of like kind of mocking mental health or what it's like to be weird and different, with our heroes being the epitome of normal. Like, I feel like it's a weird moral issue here. And since the crew feels so bad for her, they end up going to her house to be a part of the party. Which, guys, okay, everything from here on out is kind of your fault. Like, it's one thing to show up and defend her, but are you really gonna take the extra step to go back to her house? So it seems like really normal, but it's still kind of awkward. And they're trying to find a way out of this experience. I don't know why they can't commit to doing something nice for somebody. They have to pretend they actually wanted to be here. I wish they just committed to, like, did you want her free or not, guys? And of course, they have to make fun of whatever culture they made up Nora to be by having Norwegian liver balls at this party, and it's really disturbing. Things go haywire when Spencer shows up trying to take the kids back home, and the mom tricks him into the basement where she ties him up to a spinning wheel.
Carly!
Spencer!
Help! Help me! I'm on a wheel!
And this is just going a little bit overboard. It's not like people coming up with this last minute idea to, like, take these kids in and trap them. Like, you had to have had an entire wheel built in order to trap Spencer. So this must have been thought out somehow. It only makes it a little bit scarier. I don't know how else they could communicate the fact that these people are crazy. So yeah, Spencer's tied up to this thing and is rotating almost the whole episode. And it's kind of like a little torture sequence. It kind of reminds me of Saw, like the Saw movies. But this episode of iCarly would be a really funny escape room idea, don't you think? Nora goes haywire, stops every exit, and manages to trap the kids in her living room this time. It bothers me the whole time how Nora doesn't expect them to escape. She's somehow keeping them in, and I don't know why she's stupid enough to think that they wouldn't outsmart her this time. Although she does a good job at trying to fit security so they can't get out, but not enough that, like, they're able to stay. They trick Gibby into going up the chimney to try to get help, and he gets stuck there.
Fresh air, baby. Now I gotta get to the cops. And then Crazy Nora's gonna find herself back in prison where she...
So it's like everybody kind of has their own bit, and comedic way of trying to get out of the stuck situation, but none of them can successfully do it. Not only that, the methods are kind of boring. Like, the different ways they take to get through it are really mundane and simple. Not like a Drake and Josh stuck episode where they're in the treehouse or stuck on the side of the road. Nope, it takes place in all one location. And if that episode of Drake and Josh couldn't extend into 40 minutes, I don't know why this has to. There were some outlandish jokes while the plot wasn't super interesting, and those are always entertaining, like seeing her tackle Freddy onto the table. Although when you realize the reality of the situation, it's almost not that funny. And I get it, it's a sitcom, we're supposed to suspend our disbelief, but here it's doing overboard again. Everybody's stuck playing party games, and there's no real point to any of it. And the thing that really bothers me is Sam pulls out her butter sock, and the audience claps as if it's a guest star.
I'll tell you what we're gonna do. As soon as those two freaks walk back in here.
No butter sock.
And I didn't know if we reduced ourselves to clapping for a sock with butter in it, but it's weird to me. The B plot is interesting. It's a lot about T-Bow needing to stay with Freddy and his mom, but his mom doesn't like who he is normally, which is kind of disrespectful. Like, he's just a normal guy, and now he's pretending to be like a put-together businessman that has like the utmost respect, and Mrs. Benson is like falling for it the whole time. So it's all about him trying to keep up this charade in front of Miss Benson, and it kind of feels a little bit shallow because it's somebody that the main cast cares about, but not cares about enough to let him come clean, and Miss Benson is just downright against everything he's doing. It definitely feels like it could be racism. I don't know what else it could possibly be implying. I mean, maybe if this were a different race as T-Bow's part, it's definitely controversial. It would be one thing if the jokes kind of made up for it or were funny enough to justify it, but I feel like it didn't necessarily get there. I mean, it's nice how that plot wraps into Freddy's mom and T-Bow saving the day inevitably, because then they come together and they make up for whatever reason. But most of the episode, it's just a little bit annoying. They're only able to get out of the Nora situation by having Freddy enact this tracker chip in his head, in which Sam lasers him, leading Miss Benson to realize that they're in danger. So then they show up, everybody is trapped in the house, but it's quickly solved as Freddy's mom and T-Bow destroy the bad guys. And it's like, this was supposed to be a web show. A show about a web show, and now it's about kidnapping and breaking and entering. Jeez, guys. And I'm a pretty forgiving guy. I feel like a funny joke or two would let me just forget about all of it, but I just felt like Freddy's mom and T-Bow's plotline was a little off base, and the A plot wasn't even interesting enough to hold 40 minutes worth of time. Like, I feel like even in 20 minutes, this episode would have been below average. I do feel like T-Bow as a character is really funny, and the situations he gets in. Like, I want to know the guy behind the juice stand and have him be a person outside of it, as opposed to just another wacky adult character that backstory is super vague for no reason. Like, T-Bow doesn't need that.
It says you must stay at least 100 yards away from some girl named Portia Sweet.
I keep accidentally calling him TiVo, like the TV, and I don't know why that keeps popping in my head. But yeah, the plot just mirrors iPsycho almost beat for beat, just with more people and louder stunts. Nora's parents being deranged is never really explained or mattering, you know, so we don't feel bad for her. There's no reason to have a miscommunication about this. It's just an easy jailbreak episode. The fight scene, although, is a fan favorite. I feel like a lot of people remember this part of the episode, but like I said, you don't need a two-part special to justify this kind of action scene. But yeah, no characters had a before point and after point. Nobody grew. It was just an episode for the sake of being an episode, which I guess is okay. It's a kid's show. Do what you want. As a viewer, I was like, yeah, this isn't it. This is not fun. This is not exciting. This is not storytelling. It's just somebody trying to create a skit and not only be 20 minutes, but 40 minutes long. I can't be entertained like that. Yeah, then for season 6, we have I Go One Direction, and this one was surprisingly bad. They've had guest stars before, some actually famous, and this is another one of those. Spencer and Carly get back from vacation, and they just plop the characters in the living room doing nonsensical things, like they don't even care what they're doing with the characters anymore. Tebow is in a kiddie pool, while Sam is grilling. The doctor comes by and lets everybody know that Carly got sick on the trip. She's dizzy, hungry, and it's a really bad sign.
I just found this at the junkyard. Amongst the junk.
What is that, a motorcycle?
Motorcycle? What about this looks like a motorcycle?
Do you see wheels? A motor?
Anything motorcycle related?
Look, I'm just a kid. I'm not a wizard.
Meanwhile, Freddie gets good news that One Direction wants to be involved in iCarly. And it's really exciting for everybody, specifically Gibby. Gibby has a big crush on them, and that is probably my favorite part of this whole episode, having a crush on One Direction. I love it. I feel like the interactions with the band members are so few and far between, and these guys are essentially used as a prop to bring around the set. Unlike Fred, that was like weaved into the plot, now it just feels like they're putting guest stars on the show just to stand there and not even have a lot of lines. Like, none of these characters even have distinct personalities outside of being One Direction in real life.
Do you guys want to hear my idea?
Yes.
Does it involve the motorcycle? No.
Whoa, wait, replace Harry?
Well, not for real. We just make him think he's being replaced. Who with?
At first, it's kind of annoying. You think it'll be over in a little bit, but then Harry Styles takes Carly's drink and gets her disease. Oh, geez. So yeah, he becomes sick, and it all happens within the iCarly studio. So it's essentially one location this whole episode, and Carly ends up taking care of him in her bed. I don't know why Harry couldn't go anywhere else. He's rich, he's well-known. I don't know why he would impose on somebody that is trying to work with him only professionally. And he takes advantage of the situation, but they don't actually give him enough lines to make it seem like he's asking for these things. They're just basically like, Carly, he's so overwhelming, he's so overwhelming. And then at the juice bar, they're actually trying to figure out a way out of this, and like I said, it's like Carly, Sam, and Freddie are the only ones talking, and they barely chime in. They get involved in the next scene, though, with them convincing Harry that they are going to move on without him. The most annoying part of this episode for me is that Harry immediately removes Gibby and is like, no, I want to be the singer. And it kind of just ends there. Like, I would have loved to see him be sick earlier, and then maybe Gibby takes over One Direction. It's more than just a single dance rehearsal. And they have to essentially trick Harry into admitting he wasn't sick. But it's none of that. It literally is like, let's do this thing to Harry. It changes in one scene, and then the final 3 minutes is a music video of them just singing on the iCarly set. No personalities, no actual payoff to the plot. It's not like anything is changing. You could turn this episode off at the 18-minute mark, and you will have seen it all. I feel like early iCarly that's not lazy, would have done it more impressively. Like I said, maybe Harry would be sick for longer, maybe the boys would take a more active role in the episode. But there's not even enough time in the episode for us to believe that Gibby would even be a member of One Direction. And that's like the whole gimmick for me. Like, I want to see how One Direction could interfere Carly, Sam, and Freddie's lives when really it's one interaction with one band over the course of one single day. Like, at least have given us a big finale where Gibby's about to go on the iCarly podcast and change it, but there's nothing at stake, there's nothing the boys need to interrupt, and Harry being sick in the first place really doesn't play a role in their lives. Overall, it just feels like a promotion of an episode, like Disney Channel did Studio DC almost live with the Muppets, and it was all about promoting the Muppet stars. This is what it feels like with One Direction. I hate when networks lean into the fact that they could probably just put in famous people and that will make up for the story. And sure, like, in retrospect, we did kind of drop everything for an episode and watched it, but I feel like we deserved better than this episode. I saw people online talk about how Spencer's B-plot is just a little goofy, even borderline creepy, because the whole thing is he's trying to impress a girl, so he says he'll teach her how to work out, even though we all know Spencer doesn't know how to work out, and she assumes that she means her daughter, so she gives her daughter to Spencer for the day and just abandons her. And I feel like the adults in this world are not painted in a beautiful picture. Spencer spends the entire episode taking care of this girl, giving her a makeover, and Nothing conspires at all. Like, Spencer's not worried about impressing the girl. She actually leaves in the first 2 minutes. There's no reason that Spencer doesn't kick this girl out. There's no retribution if he doesn't do this. It's more just him hanging out with a little girl around the apartment. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's worth watching, honestly. But I gotta admit, the Gibby jokes were 1000% worth it. I would watch this episode just to see Gibby fangirl over One Direction. That is all. One Direction is definitely the worst episode of all, and I don't even not like One Direction. Like, I do genuinely like them. I just feel like they tried to take themselves too seriously, and then the acting of the boys just got in the way, and I couldn't excuse all of that just because it was a boy band. You could tell it's a marketing ploy just because they wanted us to watch it, and I was already out of teen TV at that point in my life, so I don't know why anybody would think I would go back to watch this Australian boy band. So in order to not feel like I have a huge ego, I did want to go over some information I found about fans' reactions to the worst episodes ever. And let's see if any of ours match up. I want to see if we're on the same page. So let's go over 6, because there's 6 seasons of iCarly, of the worst episodes other people put. At the very last, they put iCarly I Meet Fred, which of course they did. I definitely felt like this episode was good enough. Like, I thought it was funny. I liked Fred. I felt like diving into the internet culture of reality is exactly what iCarly needed to be authenticated. I felt like they handled it in a very grounded way while still making it really funny. It still deserves to be higher than I Go One Direction. Like, that episode is really horrible. I don't know why it wouldn't be right here. Then 94, the second least best episode, is I Bloop 2 Electric Boogaloo. And I totally am happy this is here because I didn't want to include the Bloop specials because obviously they're clip shows. Like, the Dr. Phyllis episode of Drake and Josh was a clip show. Like, that's their way of showing the outtakes in a way that counts as an episode so nobody has to do as much work. Not a big fan of that. But this one in particular was really off the rails in the sense that not only did it make no sense, but they were breaking the fourth wall in ways that didn't even work, with having Rex from Victorious be the host. And it's like, I don't understand who the fan service is for. Like, maybe the people that liked the Dan Schneider universe, but I like the shows from the universe, but I still didn't even appreciate this event. It felt like I just couldn't trust the writers from now on to even believe iCarly's real. But that's a critique I have for a lot of the ending episodes anyway. I do think I Bloop 2 is a super big low, and I'm happy it's low on the list because it definitely doesn't deserve to get credit. And then, 93, we have a video, I April Fools. Oh, thank God, guys. I hate this episode so much. I know Quentin Reviews talked about it a lot, and I remember seeing it later because I did not grow up watching this episode. Like, this did not show up, and I understood what was going on in middle school. This episode virtually had no structure, no character growth, and then also no reality to it. Like, Spencer shows up as a woman randomly in the middle of it, and it feels like a sketch comedy show with no actual sketches in it, just interwoven character conversations, not forwarding iCarly in any way. And if you saw the Victorious episode, it's kind of the same thing. I don't know what was going on in Nickelodeon's mind that they thought to celebrate April Fool's Day is to let these shows just be one big joke. Like, we already established that these are kids that are trying to relate to us through their own things, but then you send us these episodes where it's like, are we on the adult side laughing at them, or are we still with them? Because I've never experienced something like this. Have you? Then let's group together the next 3. We also have I Fix a Pop Star from Season 2, I Sell Penny Teas from Season 4, and IQ from Season 5. So these episodes were super low on the list, and it makes sense. This was like the later half of iCarly. 2010, 2011 is when it started to get into that April Fool's era, with every episode being a joke on the audience. And while I didn't put a lot of these even in my top 6, I definitely see where everybody's coming from. Like, these episodes were definitely veering too off the iCarly path, and that's definitely a pattern I noticed in the last couple seasons anyway. I did, however, like the I Fix a Pop Star episode. Like, the whole Ginger Fox premise was really good. I liked that they had that episode with the chef. Like, that's both of those episodes, iCarly trying to help a celebrity outside of the web show, is just always interesting to me. So I felt like they did it good here. I don't think this should have been one of the least enjoyable episodes, but I'm not surprised. Same thing with iSell Penny Tease. I thought that was funny enough to be considered a good episode of iCarly. It didn't take anything off the rails. And IQ also, I think IQ is specifically not a good one anyway, because of the fact it's just about iCarly, just about Carly trying to impress a guy. It's like the most stereotypical sitcom trope, and to be so far in the series, like, we want to see more episodes about the web show. We want to see about these characters, not them backtracking to a point where they become, like, stupider and stupider. Like, it feels like this episode definitely shows its cracks in its main plot. Phew. Now, that was a long-winded one. I thought this video would be more in the spirit of my channel, as usually my band videos are the ones that get the most recognition, but if you guys ever wanted to see me do iCarly or any of the shows I've been mentioning, just let me know in the comments. I think it's really fun to actually point out the most offensive or even just least contribution-driven episodes of these TV shows. And with iCarly and Drake and Josh being so popular, it's hard to find new ways to approach them, but I have found a couple, so we've got some more mainstream ones going on, but don't forget to check out the other retrospectives, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching this dive into iCarly, and I will see you guys next time.